So I'm doing this video on 10 things that I've learned in my 47 years on this planet, and I'm going to try to do it in 10 minutes. I did a video based on this topic about a month or two ago, and then I watched it again and I was like, oh, I've missed some really good points that I wanted to make. So this is a revised and new and improved version. And I'm going to start with discernment. I have learned in my 47 years on this planet how important discernment is. And what I mean by that is every single thing that I consume shapes my reality. So everything that I consume, from music to TV shows to the food that I eat, the places that I go, the people that I surround myself with, they shape who I am as a person and how I perceive the world. So I've learned to have a high degree of discernment and to have a very strong filter for what I will allow into my subconscious and conscious mind. One of the things that I've learned in this lifetime of my 47 years on this planet is that I have absolutely no idea what other people are going through in their daily lives. And so now that I'm older, I try to have more compassion for people. Like, for example, when I used to go to the grocery store, if the person behind the cash register wasn't smiley and cheerful, I'd walk away and be like, oh, they were kind of a jerk. They weren't very nice. But I've now experienced enough really challenging things in my life and understand that we have to just wake up every day, continue to function in the world, continue to show up and go to work and live in society, even when it feels like in our personal lives things are falling apart. So I have a lot more compassion for people now that I'm older, because I know that we have absolutely no idea what they're going through in their daily lives, and we're all just doing the best that we can. So one of the ways I've learned to navigate this thing called life is to determine if choices and decisions are based on comfort or freedom. And most people I've learned, including myself, you either lean towards comfort or you lean towards freedom. For example, I rent an apartment, I lease a car, I'm single, I am freelance, I don't have a full-time job right now. So I tend to make choices based on them providing me freedom, as opposed to my brother owns a home, he has a full-time job, he's married, so his choices lean towards comfort. And I've found that it's pretty easy if you're trying to determine what direction you're gonna go or what direction someone else in your life is gonna go, based on if they or you typically lean towards comfort or freedom, because most choices are one or the other. So yeah, that's one of the things I've kind of learned a tool I've kind of created for myself in navigating life is comfort or freedom. My gosh, so dizzy. So another thing that I've learned in my 47 years on this planet is that your health is your greatest wealth. So I've learned to treat my body well. I've learned to shop the perimeter of the grocery store and don't go down the aisles. I'll go down the aisles for rice and beans and maybe some pasta, but I mostly try to just eat whole foods. I don't drink, I don't smoke, and I did all of those things when I was younger. But I've learned, the older I've gotten, that the better I treat my physical body that's here earthside, the better I feel. So yeah, your health is your greatest wealth, and yeah, I've learned to treat it as such, and I feel so much better for it. Okay, so another one that I've learned is that life can only be understood backwards. And I used to judge myself really harshly if I made a decision that wasn't the best decision, or if I didn't do things perfectly. But I've learned to go a little easier on myself, because it really does feel like the only way to really know something 100% clearly is with hindsight. They say hindsight is 20/20, meaning clear vision, and we do all have a clear understanding of our lives when we look back on it. But when we're moving forward, it's like the best thing we can do, or that I've learned to do anyways, is try and trust my intuition, try and have discernment, And beyond that, as long as my heart is in the right place, then I'm doing the best that I can. And so yeah, I've learned to have a little bit more self-compassion with myself, because life is really hard to understand moving forward. We really only truly see it clearly when we look backwards. Another thing that I've learned while being Earthside here on this planet is that I don't know what I don't know until I know it. And basically, we're all learning as we're going, and part of living life feels like we learn a lot of our lessons by making mistakes. And so I've learned to have more self-compassion for myself, and to also be more compassionate for other people, and knowing that most humans have a good heart and are trying their best, and knowing that anything that they do that's a mistake, or that I don't love that they just did something, I know that we all just don't know what we don't know until we know it. And that's part of being human, and part of living is trial by error and learning as we go. So yeah, that's one thing I've learned as I've gotten older, is to have more self-compassion and compassion for others too. I've learned to have a greater deal of discernment over the years, not only in what I consume, but also in what I create. So every single thing that I and every artist creates, that we put out into the world, it shapes the subconscious and conscious mind of everyone who consumes it. So I'm very careful for myself of consuming things that are like fear-based, violent content. I won't consume it. And I don't want to take part in creating it either. And this is something that I feel like if every artist took this responsibility on, we could be living in a beautiful, beautiful world, because we would all be creating beauty, and everything we consume would be beautiful. And then we would be perceiving the world through that filter and that lens. So that's something that I've learned, is that the responsibility of the artist is to understand how powerful their artwork is to the world that consumes it. So when it comes to finances, the goal, at least for what I've learned, is to get money but not buy stuff, because if you buy stuff, you don't have freedom. So the goal is to get money to use for freedom and not for stuff. Okay, I'm holding my tripod because I'm on a hill here. So this one, we are all just trying to survive. And I feel like as a species, we've overcomplicated things. And so for myself, I try to keep everything as basic as possible, so that I have the smallest amount of stress in my life as I possibly can. Because I don't know if you've ever seen Timothy Ward's channel, but he often says we're all just trying to get from womb to tomb. And I'm just trying to have as stress-free and as pleasant of a life as I can during this journey and this ride, until it's time for me to go home. So yeah, every species is just trying to survive. And if we can all just try and have this ride be as stress-free, pleasant, and as enjoyable as possible, then that would be a good thing for all of us, right? Like, we gotta cut the stress and complexity down a notch as a species. Look at this. This is absolutely stunning. Wow. I don't even know what I'm gonna see up over this hill. Look at this. Holy cow. So I have done this hike like 100 times, and I have never seen this church on this hill before. And I'm feeling like it's completely divinely guided, that this is what I found right when I'm gonna share with you what my last and final life lesson in my 47 years on this planet is. And that is to love and cherish every single second that you have with your furry family members. They don't live as long as we do. Their lives are shorter. And I've had 3 animal soulmates that have been my family members in my lifetime. I had a dog, Quartz, that lived to be about 8 years old, a rabbit, Blue, that lived to be about 8 years old, and then Simon, my beloved, who passed away about a year ago. He was 19. And every single time it completely crushed me and broke my heart. And I wish that I had 1,000 more years earthside with them, but that's just not reality. And they don't live as long as us. And I feel like while we have them with us, it feels like they're gonna live as long as we do, and they just don't. So that's the thing I've learned, is to cherish every single second because their lives are shorter. So yeah, that's my last and final life lesson that I've learned in these 47 years. If you watched this and you're older and you have something you want to add to it, please do. Please add it in the comments, because we are all here in this life to learn. And I hope that you will come back and join me on the next video. Bye.